Well, just one day after Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all counts for the killing of George Floyd, the Justice Department announced it is planning a federal investigation into the use of force by Minneapolis police officers. And as we also heard earlier in the program, it comes amid growing calls for police reform in the United States. So let's talk about that now with a former police officer who worked in Richmond, Virginia, Joe Ested. Mr. Ested, hello to you. Can we start just by me hearing from you? Because I want to hear you articulate what it is that you've seen from within police ranks that needs reform, change that needs to happen, perhaps from the inside out.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. And my experience in law enforcement is they have the mindset of protect us, police them. We need to take away that mindset because, yes, as a good officer, you want the support of the department, and the department will support you. But the bad part is they support bad officers as well. So it's overall us against the mentality, and we need to take that away from the culture of law enforcement. Law enforcement officers serve the community, and they need to be a part of that community they serve. And with my experience, a lot of the officers that I work with wasn't part of the community that they were policing.
Since yesterday's verdict, a lot has been made about the way in which the Minneapolis Police Department told the world what had happened with George Floyd on the day that George Floyd died. So let me read, if I could, just a little line from their news release. This was from May 25th of last year. Officers were able to get the suspect into handcuffs and noted he appeared to be suffering medical distress. It goes on, he died a short time later. That's a hell of a way to describe what happened. I mean, when you read that statement, what do you see?
I see officers at the scene because that wasn't police administration. That was actually his report himself. So of course he's trying to cover up his actions. You know, he's trying to minimize the damage that he's caused. So it's just an officer trying to cover his tracks.
He wasn't alone. Where is the accountability that comes from within?
When you start talking about accountability, there is no accountability. It's always a protect us, police them. I made complaints against other officers for excessive use of force, and I was always told we handle within, don't go outside. We take care of our own kind of mindset. So there's really no accountability.
So then, in your mind, can change come about on a broad scale from within, or must it necessarily come from the outside?
It definitely has to come from the outside. The police management has been policing police itself since it started. And we've known that police can't police themselves. They take care of themselves. They protect the entity of law enforcement. And it definitely has to come from outside.
Knowing the history, knowing the context, how does this feel, or does it feel different to you as a moment in time from a policing perspective when it comes to the question of can we see meaningful change starting now?
Yes, I definitely believe that we can see change. And I think this case has shed so much light on what goes on with inner walls of the culture of policing. For a long time, my community, the poor Black community, has been victimized by bad and excessive, aggressive police officers. We've been complaining about police brutality for a long time. This is the first time that I've seen a diverse group of people at the protests. I attend the protests. I attend previous protests. It's pretty much predominantly Black. We're protesting. We want justice. The crowd is normally Black. This particular protest with George, it was all walks of life. I seen an overwhelming support of whites at the protest. So I think this is exactly the shift in change that we definitely need, a unifying front.
Joe Ested, I hope we get a chance to talk again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.